With each passing day, more converge upon Earth. Pilgrims await. Some already arrived. Others still walking paths they do not yet understand. This gathering intrigues me. They exist in the space between heaven and hell. Their choices now will carve the shape of their eternity. But do they truly know what they are? What forces stir beneath their feet while they play their part on the board? Pawns, perhaps. Or something far more significant. Death lingers near. Yet the dead do not rest. Their whispers grow louder. Their stories claw to the surface. Deeds once buried in shadow now stray for the light. These saints, these sinners, they are unlike any I've seen. Complex, flawed, powerful. Some barely cling to their soul. Others shine so brightly, I dare not look away. They have been chosen for what lies ahead, and nothing in this world or the next will ever be the same. I must watch them, for within this fractured group lies the thread to a mystery far greater than they can fathom. And soon, it will unravel.
Mute it! Hey everyone, I'm Ash from Heel vs. Babyface. This is Rip and the Silverback, episode number 7.
First of all, I think it's disgusting that you're black-facing. And Heel versus Babyface needs to be cancelled with immediate effect. Because I'm black, I am allowed to whiteface. That is absolutely perfectly acceptable.
Yes.
That isn't. That isn't. Oh my God. We're so sorry. We're so sorry you had to see that. I'm Rick. He's the Silverback. Welcome to episode 79.
Let's go.
Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Staying busy. Got a lot going on with the Riververse stuff. So obviously Saints and Sinners is doing incredibly well. So I'm excited about that. And man, I'm feeling great, man. Feeling great. Staying busy.
Yeah, and actually, well, we're gonna have a look at that. We're gonna start off with that. So, by the way, chat, just before, I'll just say this to those of you who want to know. The episode 6 Ironheart review is uploaded on the channel. I'm going to do this stream. I'm then going to put the thumbnail on after this stream, and then it's going live. Okay. So the final episode review of Ironheart. Oh my God, dude. Jeez. I mean, when the actual devil is kinder and more benevolent than the main character, you know something's wrong with the show. But we're going to start off and have a look at Saints and Sinners, because a lot has happened in the last week with Saints and Sinners, which has still got over 9 days to go.
Let's go.
But we have smashed through some barriers, broken some glass ceilings, got some female-only representation. Okay, no. So we've hit over 10 1,000 books, and I've already actually moved to 10,580.
Man, I know, man. That's going quick. It's going up there, man.
2, I'm sorry, you're going to get gobbled up very shortly. I'm sorry. My bad. I mean, I'm sure the sauces don't give a shit because they're also in Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, it's the same writers, right?
A book of hours went past a book of hours. Nightmare. And we also hit over $400,000. An actual fact, and out 406, nearly 406,500.
Let's go.
Oh, and man. It was still 9 days to go. Still a week and a couple of days to go. I'm getting a little giddy because I think by the end of the weekend, I think Yaira 2 would have been passed in terms of books sold. Mm-hmm. Then it's going to be, I'm sorry, mate, but then it's going to be looking down the eyes.
Looking ice on 3. Hey, I'm okay with this being the top book of the year.
I know. Yeah, what a horrible situation you're in. Oh no. Books that I've okayed, that I've done, are doing better than books I've already done. Oh, what a nightmare.
Exactly.
That's the last thing somebody in business wants to happen.
Oh, man. Fantastic news. Shout out, man.
It's great news. Yeah. So,
to everybody,
I
man.
Think,
this is going awesome. This is doing
I think there's only 500 difference between Yaira 2 and ISOM 3. Approximately about 500 book difference. So,
yeah. Give or take.
I'm reckoning we're gobbling up ISOM 3 on Saints.
We know the last weeks are strong. So, it's going to be interesting to see where this lands. I think to me, what will really be intriguing is if this can get to $500,000.
Do you know something?
Yeah.
I actually think there's a chance.
I'm with you.
I think there's a chance. A good strong final week. Final weeks tend to be good. There's going to be a closeout stream.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be whoring this on Sunday.
Let's go.
as I always do. But it's really exciting times, dude. It's really exciting times.
Yeah.
And then we can just sit back and wait for the fulfillment to happen and get this in some beautiful people's arms. Mm-hmm. So chat, I'm about to put the link in the chat. If you haven't already got yourself a copy of Saints and Sinners, I'm going to pin that at the top. And I'm also going to pop it into the description as well. So if you're watching this later, or it's just easier for you to access, I'll tell you in a second. There we go. And if you just refresh your own streams now, the links will be there for you. So, for Eric, I've got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Since we last spoke last week, I see Dan Vask in the chat.
Shout out, Dan.
Do more shout outs, Dan. Do it. There's only shout out. Do a Saints and Sinners Chasing Ghosts only. Only. Oh, actually, I've got 2 questions. Number 1.
Yeah.
Which is actually the not the question I was going to ask you first. Number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the figures for the actual covers?
Handy, no, but can I get them? Yes.
Can you get them? Yeah,
absolutely.
Because it'd be interesting to see. Because we haven't done that since since
we first launched, so we haven't looked at. Yes, I can look at those.
Oof.
Okay, I'm actually intrigued. So I'm gonna try to pull that up.
And number 2,
mm-hmm.
Since last week we had Dan Vask on 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Glorious Death thing, amazing stuff. What has happened since in terms of Billboard? What's happened since in terms of... Because I heard that it actually went back up the charts.
Amazon, it did.
Charts. Yeah.
It did. It had a little jump. I haven't looked at Billboard, but it did have a little jump on Amazon again, where we were yet again the number 1 new song. We were top 10 again. So once people heard the kind of news that obviously we had broke or went into at least detail with on the show last week, it seemed to get people stoked on it and went to go grab it on Amazon and other digital platforms, the ones that actually count towards the sales, which we know now. But that's again this whole thing, us charting everything is really just a testament to the audience. I keep saying that and bringing that up because it's such a real kind of organic grassroots kind of thing, and you guys continue to show up, and it's not just obviously for Glorious Death, but it's with with Saints and Sinners and some of the other Riververse projects as well. And it's like, I know we're talking Superman, all that stuff. We've talked Ironheart and some of the things that are happening, like mainstream wise, but it is really, really cool, and it just shows. I think the Billboard is yet another example, though there's several others that we could point to as far as the metrics, that while the optics of it, it doesn't feel mainstream, and it's not technically, but as far as the numbers are concerned and the general enthusiasm, absolutely you can be competitive. And we have enough enthusiastic people that are part of the audience that are willing to make this stuff competitive. So again, I want to give a big shout out to everybody out there showing love to all the Ripverse stuff, and even the non-Ripverse stuff that's people are doing cool things that are in our circle, man. So big shout out to all of you guys. I know yesterday we announced, for example, Gary's books finally about to drop. Lots happened with that, but it's finally about to drop on Friday. So yeah, it's just cool, man. It's something that I don't take for granted at all. It's something I'm always, looking at each passing day, and I'm like, oh man, we're really blessed to be in this situation, because who would have thought? A couple of guys do a cool track, it charts on Billboard. A couple of guys get together, do a book, $500,000. It's look, man, we're sitting pretty. Let's just say that, man, and that's all. That's all thanks to you guys out there.
It's pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts. Because of things like the single, the kind of popularity it's got. You've also done a couple of statues. Of course, you've done the Iceland statue, done the Yaira statue. Would you say you've potentially correlated enough data now to be able to say, yeah, do you know what? I think we can do this in this number or this quantity and get something a little bit different out as well?
Yeah, I do believe that we have just generally speaking, even with books, like an idea. Though, look, it's business. You never know. You're gonna over and undershoot sometimes,
Sure.
but we have a general idea, depending on what that item is, how many units roughly we're going to be able to push of that in terms of sales within a specific window, because you have the long tail that you have to consider as well, especially with manufacturing. It's one of the when you produce at the volume that we produce, one of the big things that you have to consider. It's like, sure, you sold within 2 months, you sold X amount of books, but people don't stop buying stuff after that month. Those 2 months are over, so you have to constantly consider, like, okay, if I sell this amount of 1,000, then how long is it going to take me to sell 500 after? Or can you even do that after the initial pre-order window or what have you? So yeah, we data collection is really, I'd argue that, like, as far as remaining profitable, it's one thing that I would argue that all business owners should be doing, at least. I'm not if you're not, I don't see how you're getting by, but that's one thing that you got to pay attention to, is that data collection is vital, bro. Analytics it's vital to your business, top to bottom.
Yeah, I like using this because I
Shout
just
out to Edwin, by the way,
want
man. He's done a phenomenal job of collecting data on the industry and some of the stuff that we're doing within the collection window. So big shout out to Edwin.
Look, this came out 23rd of June. Okay, so this came out what?
3 weeks ago?
Just over 2 weeks ago. 2 and a bit weeks ago. Since that's come out, this has gone up 80,000 This has
crazy.
gone up 600. Norfolka, that's gone up by like 100,000.
Yeah, because it's like 100. It crossed 150 the other day. So yeah,
exactly. It's like
damn near doubling it.
Yeah, this is like some of that is nuts. But yeah, it gives it. I mean, this is what I've been using. It gives me a great metric on what to close down on. So
yeah. But no, like look at just think about that, right? Like you're looking at all these, like, and these are within the collection window, right? It's not even considering because you like, Yaira, Bloodruth, Great War, Ripazine 3, or Horseman, Zaylan, like especially after the reprint, right? These are books that they're still selling. Let's say just within the collection window, and it's really cool to see, man. And that's one of the things that keeps us on our toes because I never really. I went into this business like, okay, we're going to have these pre-order campaigns and things. And, we moved to a collection format, which is more, a slimmer version of a campaign, very similar. But, I never really, it was very hard, I guess, at the time, because I didn't want to put it's kind of cart before the horse situation where I'm like, to even be around. By the way, Rippaverse Day is in 2 days. That'll be our 3-year anniversary. And yes, we're going to do something special on that. In addition to launching, launching Neurotics book is not the Rippaverse Day celebration, though we are going to be dropping this book on Rippaverse Day. That's not the special thing that we have planned. But one of the things that it was hard to think about was like, again, how things those long-term tail sales, and it's like I never would have thought that. Well, shit, you prove that you can deliver on something, because I can totally empathize with those. And we've talked about it on the show before. You have a new company, they can have all the ambitions in the world, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be efficient at really delivering on that. Right. So I totally understand if there were people that were on the fence. And then you go by, a year 2, and now we're going into year 3. So you're having people that are also gravitating towards what they like, right? Maybe there's a title of 3. They're not buying every book, but there's a title of 2 or 3 that they're buying. And it's been really, really cool to see, okay, collection window closes. Now, what happens? And how our long-term tail sales have like just gone through the roof since we have launched. And it's like night and day. It's very different from, let's say, when we dropped Yaira 1 versus now, like in terms of what's selling after the initial window. It's quite remarkable. Like I said, something that I never really like thought about, but we had to change in how we order our books too, right? Because it's like, you went from, you had these big gaps in between releases to okay, we're releasing to
multiple campaigns all at once,
Exactly. So things just fundamentally changed, and we had to make an adjustment on how we approach even just getting books printed, man. And it's been fun. I nerd out about that type of stuff, but it's been really, really cool to see. But man,
I think you've said that the biggest selling book post sales is
Bloodruth. Yeah. Bloodruth. It is quite interesting, and I think a lot of that had to do with the new audience that it attracted. Right, first horror book.
I think it got really good word of mouth though, because that was a damn good book.
I mean, look, I'm not gassing it because it's just a Rippaverse book, so I guess it's my job to say, "Oh, this book looks fucking amazing." It's in my best interest to say that, right? But no, objectively speaking, it is one of the more unique looking books because Michael's art is very specific, right? It's unique. Artwork. We did the black and white version as well, and word of mouth was great. People got it and they reviewed it, and there's not a whole lot of people that dislike Bloodruth, even people that don't like us in general. It's hard to say like there's a problem with that book in terms of its content. It gave, you got everything: your character development, your atmosphere, your growing of the general Rippaverse as far as what that adds to the general lore element of it, and it's this castle that's outside of Flores Park or all that. Like it was a great book, and sales indicated that, okay, well, people after the fact were also coming to get in on it. And it's been really cool. It's been really, really cool to see, man. I can't say that enough. And seeing that change from book to book is awesome. It's something that I nerd out about. So
but there's a few things like, for instance, Item 3 closed an arc.
mm-hmm.
Yaira 3, which is shipping soon, that's closing an arc.
Mm-hmm.
So, where'd you kind of go? It's just like we've already got XYZ planned in terms of where Item's going next, Bloodroot's going next, Yara's going next, Alpha Core's going next. Like, how far does that plan go? If you don't, I mean, if you want to tell me, but it's no one here but you and me, so it's fine.
I'll say this much. It's an interesting juggle. Now, and rest in peace to Jim Shooter. I had the blessing to be able to talk to him about specifically this topic, right? Where as an editor in chief, you're juggling multiple things, obviously. But we
tend to evoke his name a lot in the stream.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And man, where would that company be if they had brought his ass back like they probably should have? And would it be in the shape that it's in right now? Probably not. But seriously, and one of the things that we had discussed is like, okay, it's a double whammy. You have creatively where a character is going to go, a title is going to go, but you're also having to consider simultaneously, which can be a challenge. Well, what happens if you come out with a character, Horseman, prime example, right? Gave him a little one-off, brand new character. It's no frame of reference, nothing. Book absolutely blows up. So you go from, well, we were going this direction, and you still, again, you have a general roadmap, and especially considering the character, the individual characters and where they're trying to go as well as their titles. But now it's like, well, now I have to consider this character. I can't just shelve them, right? Like I can't just be like, well, it was a one-off. I could, but would that be good business, right? It's like, well, no, the audience has dictated that they want to see more of this character. I'd be a plumb down fool to just say, well, shit, his book sold, however many tens of thousands that it sold, or just kind of go about our business. Like, I guess, but it would have made way more sense to do what we did and say, okay, we're going to greenlight this and give him his own series. But again, that wasn't accounted for.
Biggest selling book of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, and that's one of the things that you have to do. And it can be a challenge because, again, we weren't considering that before. We were not considering Dirty Deeds. Another example, we do a Ribazine and it blows up. Like they love the story. It's a different setting, different ideas and what have you. So while we put those in a Ribazine to see, it's still like it could go either way, right? So what happens if they didn't like the story? What happens if the sales weren't really like where we needed to be to justify them getting their own title? Or if we are going to give them a title, what does that look like? Is it a graphic novel? Is it a one-off? Is it a one-shot? Is it a series like that's ongoing? Is it a limited series? Like all these are things that have to get considered, and it can be quite the curveball. A wild card, if you will, because again, if you come out with something that blows up, or if you come out with something that maybe doesn't do as well as you wanted it to do, you have to have at least a little room to pivot in that approach, right? So you want to do more of what the customers want. Imagine that, listening to the feedback from the guys that buy your shit. But you make an adjustment based on them, but you also have creatively the direction that you're trying to go, and it's the constant juggle. I talked with Jim Shooter about this. A constant juggle that you're trying to manage as an editor in chief, or just really just as anybody creatively. It's not just something that applies to me; it applies to all the other editors as well, and how we're trying to take this, where we're trying to take the universe.
Yeah, because like the universe in itself has expanded rapidly.
Yes,
you had your core. No pun intended. You had your Alpha Core, you had your Isom, you had your Yaira. They tended to be the big three.
The Trinity.
Yeah, the Trinity of as the Trinity books come out.
Yep.
And then since then, there's just been a huge amount of new characters come along. Saints and Sinners, 6 different stories. Every story's bringing in new characters of some variety. They might be using some Rippaverse characters, but they're bringing in new characters again. I mean, you don't have to say which. I'm not gonna put you on that spot. Don't worry. But as somebody who's like, kind of like, here's my Trinity. This is going to be my foundation. These are going to be my tent poles of the Rippaverse going forward. Has there been like a character or two that has come since, and you just like, I can see this one being kind of like an well, this one kind of not replaces, but this one kind of like becomes another tent pole. I think this one's going to be like the one that we're going to really sort of like gravitate towards or go with.
I'll give you two examples of that, right? Like one is obviously one I just gave in Horseman, where Horseman was a character that we felt confident in. I mean, it's freaking Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett's their original creation. So we felt confident, but not only in where they took the story or where they're taking it now that it has an ongoing series, you could see how with the audience reception, how this could become a top 5 Rippaverse character, right? Like it could easily be. Ongoing sales, like again, for number 1 was great. We got Horseman 2, which is actually done, by the way. We're just waiting to get the stuff fulfilled, and then we'll drop that. We'll have that up for pre-order for you guys. But let's get the first one out. But it's the other one, and I think it's more centered around it's part of the character of Sydney Bloodruth. But with Bloodruth, there are so many layers, right? Like you have the wolves, and you have the the crow and the other like support characters that are around. And I could see where Bloodruth also becomes another one where it's like, remember, this is a character that was just introduced in someone else's book, in Isam's book,
Isam too. Yeah.
Right. That was more of a support for where that story was going and where his story is going. And, we'll do soon enough an Isam 3 spoiler talk stream, but you could see how if you're understanding where his powers are, starting to, we can't say leaked. It's not NDA'd anymore. The book's out. But you understand where some the base of some of his powers, and you also see some where kind of a Sydney Bloodruth also with her own background makes that even more of an intriguing thing. So I could see Bloodruth also becoming one that's like, you kind of got to get behind that. And like we've said before, or we were talking about earlier in the show, well, this is a character that, I mean, look, the book's selling so much after the collection was already over with. So yeah, man. I think everybody here, whether it's myself, Chuck, Soskis, you even for that matter, and some of the other guys in Saints and Sinners that have created these new characters, you create them with the intention that, you have your story and they want to be, they're part of it, and you want to make sure that they're not just throw-ins for sure. Like they serve an actual purpose.
Yeah.
And you can be confident, but that reception is different. Like, I'm always telling artists, like, and writers and creators, doesn't matter whether it's music, doesn't matter where you're doing comics, like you have to humble yourself and not fall in love with something.
Yes.
Because you never know. You can like it as much as you want. You can be as passionate as all get out, but ultimately you are in a service, industry, right? So it's not something that's simply and only self-fulfilling, right? It can be fulfilling, right? I get a lot of fulfillment out of what we do here at the Rippaverse, whether it be through employing other people and other things like that. But ultimately, it doesn't stand the test of time unless there is an actual audience for it, right? Yeah. So the old saying is, we talk about this in music all the time, and like, you're doing an album, you don't fall in love with with a song, because there's a chance the audience not only doesn't want the song, hell, it's a chance that the song doesn't make the album, for that matter. So I approach it the same way, or a very similar way, with comics and a character that you create, or a story that you're trying to tell, in that you still never know. You can be confident. You should be confident. You shouldn't just create a character just for the sake of fucking doing it. But ultimately, the audience is going to be the primary determinant, and that's been one of the. It's a thrill, because you never know, right? Books go out, everybody's holding their breath. It's like, how are they going to feel about this storyline? How are they going to feel about this character? That's all you could do at that point, right? Like, it's like, well, it's out there. We've done all the best that we could. Now it's out there, and it's for the audience to determine. Did they pick up on this? What did they get from that story? Was it the did they because underlying, I guess, in the story, like, not just like literally speaking, like, okay, character does X, like why, right? What's the meaning of this story that you're trying to tell, the crux of it? And did the audience get that? Like, was that how? Because everybody's different, right? And what they got from the story may be different from what someone else got from it. But was it the story? Did they digest it in the way that you intended? All this is stuff that's going through your head, and you don't know until people start giving that feedback. So for me, it's a thrill. It's a thrill, and I'm humble enough and have enough humility about myself to say, just because I created a character does not mean that people are going to like said character or fall in favor with said character. There's a character that's on the cover C and Leopardo that was introduced in ISOM #3. I've seen a lot of people talk. I saw someone flat out say, like, this is now like one of my favorite villain in the Rippaverse. Yeah, that's cool. I love to hear that shit, but that doesn't mean that people fucking were gonna say that, right? This Komodo dragon looking motherfucker. Are people gonna like that? I don't know. I knew I was taking a risk, right, in building even a character like that. But people love him. People love him. But you never know. They could have easily said, this is fucking stupid. It's a fucking Komodo dragon looking motherfucker with a jean shorts, which is why I had Santuan say what he said. Because I could see where the audience, again, we'll talk about this in spoiler talk, right? Which is why I had Santuan say a line where he's basically echoing the sentiment of what the audience can see. You look at this big motherfucker that's rocking that. Turns out that a lot of people love this fucking character. They love it. They fucking love this fucking character.
It's different though, you know?
Yeah.
Particularly with ISOM, particularly, we've seen a lot of ground level characters.
Yeah,
ground root characters, or at least accepts within itself kind of grounded abilities.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything like insane. They're not fucking warping the universe or anything. Right. So it's more like enhancements as opposed to full on fucking Doctor Strange shit or something.
Right.
So yeah, to see something a little bit different in there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's cool to see. I love it. I fucking love it. And I can't wait for it, even with like Saints and Sinners, with some of the characters you introduced, namely those that are on cover A, for example. Really, really stoked to see how people feel about.
Don't pay too much attention to cover A. Don't scrutinize it. Don't be scrutinizing cover A and seeing things which Yeah. Shout out to James Holland, man. He's been one of my favorite artists to work with, who did, again, your cover. Dude, that cover, fucking hell, man.
He's good.
I was just, when he like, what would you like the cover to be? Well, I want, I want fucking Ingrid to be like this, and I want the ghost to be like this, and then I want, this, that. And then it just went, as soon as the first image was sent, you're just like, like your mind, it just come to life. It's like, okay, yeah. How'd you like that? Yeah, and okay, I'm on that.
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And that's look. Again, you're in the service department, whether you want to be or not. You're in the service industry. If you are you're doing entertainment, but it's commerce. Where you ask, I know it's some creators, right? And I use that term loosely. Just to have it apply to anybody that's really doing anything entertainment wise, seem to forget that they aren't the draw, right? It's at the end of the day, like, what you're producing and putting out there has to be, if you are asking for money, right, has to be something that people enjoy and want and want more of, even for that matter. So, and that requires you to get off your high horse a lot of times. You got to tame that, because you can't be like, well, it came from me and it was out of my head. You think you're just this brilliant guy or this genius, right? Customers can easily say, I don't care.
They can humble you in a fucking flick of the knee.
It can happen quick, can it not? It can happen quick. You go into it thinking you on your shit, you hot stuff.
Mr. fucking Bobby bullshit.
Yeah.
Walking in, plum.
Yes. They will humble you.
Down to earth, mate.
They will bring you. They will bring you right. The customers will bring you right back down to earth, and it doesn't take long for them to do it, bro. It can happen quick. So keep in mind all the time, if you're creating, whether it be what you're creating or from the business perspective, that you are in the service industry, man, and you have to take that into consideration with all the things that you do. It's like put yourself on the other side.
My motivation for taking on Ingrid was threads in Alpha Core.
Yeah.
That Chuck had written. There were certain things in Alpha Core. I'm not gonna tell you exactly what, but there was a couple of things in Alpha Core that Chuck did. And I really liked those threads. And because as a lover of comics, a great writer like Chuck Dixon, and to me, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But a great writer like Chuck Dixon, he can just put some stuff in there. And as a lover of comics, your mind just starts going, oh, this could lead to why is this going to lead? Because this lead to this? Does this mean this? And you yourself start creating, the sort of little story beats in your head, or what would happen. And so literally by reading Alpha Core, there were certain elements of that. And I thought, I want to take Ingrid because I want to run with these threads from Chuck and sort of just play on them and see what happens with them. And and like you say, it's, to me, like we've had on screen chats, we've also had personal discussions.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of support at the Rippaverse, which is incredible in terms of making sure that you got the tools, etc. But ultimately, I've consistently said to you, I said, for all the thanks and support and encouragement, I've said it's all in the hands of the customer.
Yep.
All of this is in everything is in the hands of the customer, how they view it, how they gravitate towards the stories, which stories they gravitate towards. And so, that will always be the deciding factor at the end of the day regarding pretty much everything, particularly when you're a customer focused company like yourself, because a lot of decisions have been made based off customer feedback on characters that they wanted to see. Yeah.
Yep, characters they want to see, the feedback that we get from some of the forums that we've put out there, we send via email. The guys here, especially like Andrew, and everybody's keeping tabs. Kara, obviously, everybody is keeping tabs on where the audience is at, and we've done that and made those improvements and made our adjustments, not just with creative stuff, right? Obviously, with even just our website and stuff that people have wanted to see and wanted to get fixed, wanted us to improve on all those things. We've been pretty we're always looking at what people are saying and trying to, again, cater to them, right? Cater to what our customers our paying customers actually want, which it sounds, because it should be a no-brainer, common sense. Anybody in business should understand, but we've lived in, especially over the last decade.
Common sense is in short supply. It should become exceedingly rare sense now. I think in 2025, the common aspect's been long gone. It's lost a long time ago, mate.
Exactly. Where a bunch of creators have been bred, seeing what's happening in gaming, what's happening in Hollywood, to do things to spite their customers, run off their customers, think they have the wrong, or think that this property has the wrong type of customers, which is fucking insane to me.
What, paying?
Right? It's
we got
amazing.
the wrong type of customers. What? Paying customers.
Yeah. Ones that will reach into their pockets, right? And actually voluntarily exchange money. Those guys, oh well, they're too pale in skin, or they're too male, or it's just dumb shit that people have cried and griped about, especially in corporate entertainment, which is just insane. But that's why I say, like, and I'm having to constantly, I'm throwing it out there, like, yeah, it sounds like it's a no-brainer, but and especially when you've operated in entertainment for as long as I have, you've seen, look, man, people. It's not, I don't think even anybody's surprised. I think with the rise of social media, now people know what these like Hollywood actors and actresses are about. And they feel like you actually are the one that is being blessed.
Yes, you should be lucky enough to buy from us.
Exactly.
You need to pass our test to become a customer. And we're sat there like
what? Exactly. Go fuck yourself, right?
Pick one. Anyone. Pick
exactly.
A hand. Any hand.
Exactly. And that's unfortunately where all these industries, a lot of these industries have gone, man. So, look, this is why the Ripperverse is in the position that it has been, is because that's our approach, man. It's about you guys, people in the chat, people that are, and look, we're working on a membership. I know some people have asked about that, the membership website. Give you guys another place, another sandbox to link up with each other, link up with us, and nerd out, geek out about stuff. We're working on that. But that's why we're always trying to improve the customer experience, man, because look, at the end of the day, that's king. I can have all the ideas, but if I don't have an audience of willing buyers, I don't got shit. To be completely honest.
No, absolutely correct though. Absolutely fucking correct.
I don't have anything, man. So again, why I don't take this for granted, because I know, for one, how long it took me to get in this position, and but also just how easy it is to, well, let's say this. It's very difficult to gain customers, but man, you can lose them in a heart.
To lose.
It doesn't take much. It does not take much, which is why
it takes one tweet, one sentence, one comment. That's all it takes to lose multiple, potentially thousands of customers that you'll never get, most likely never get back.
They're through, depending on how egregious it is, they're absolutely through with you, and you probably maybe burned an opportunity to gain new ones, right? In doing so. And I think that's what's happened a lot with a lot of the Hollywood cats, and that they've said very foolish things, right? And it's not even just about, okay, that project that they're working on. It's like you've probably burned yourself for many years to come, and some of your comments. So it's why you got to watch it, man. You got to watch it.
Serious question. Can you think of a company that is fucked up exceedingly badly and managed to turn it around, managed to get that trust back off the top of your head? I say that because off the top of my head, I cannot think of a single one.
You can think of like a project, right, where it's like for example, No Man's Sky, right?
Okay, yeah. Somebody said Hello Games in the chat,
right? And that was, that was an absolute fucking disaster.
Yeah, I'd have to go back to Final Fantasy 14.
Well, yeah, and again, that's not, you don't even think of that as like AAA as far as like a No Man's Sky kind of situation, right? Where though the scale of it is big now, but it's very rare, especially in the main. We've seen we've talked about it like every other week in the show, bro. We've seen studios that have produced some of the most, sought after games,
greatest games of all time. Yeah,
and they go. They go. They're on. When I say go, it's not like they're in decline. Like they're gone. Like the studio is shut down. It happens. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult to turn that ship around once you struck that iceberg. And that's what the thing is. And that doesn't mean that. And I just to be a little more of a white pill on this, you can make mistakes.
Why gotta be white?
Well, because Well, it's more like, why does the black pill have to be the negative one, right? But no,
I'll tell you because okay, oh, no.
So, what you say? 50% of the.
Well, that's because 13% of the crime is actually. Oh wait.
But oh man.
But that's why. Okay. Yeah.
But seriously, like it's like you can make mistakes, and the customers are going to be forgiven, but it's all about your intent.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. They'll be forgiving if you do something that it doesn't live up to a standard, or you make a mistake. Like, you don't have to be perfect, and I don't think customers actually expect it. They'll be critical of you when you do make a mistake. But intention, if they know you're well intended, right, and they know you gave it your best, or definitely if there's an error, right, you're seeking to remedy that. They'll be forgiving. What's fucked over a lot of the mainstream here has been that they're open with their intentions. That's basically telling a large group, a large body, right, of their customer base to go fuck themselves.
Yes.
Right.
And they seem to be very excited to do this as well.
Yes, that's a weird thing. That's the weird thing about it.
Roll off the tongue real fucking quick.
Yeah.
I mean, how many developers, game developers, do we hear in interviews and whatnot talking about toxic gamers?
Yeah.
How gamers don't know what they want, all this kind of stuff.
Fucking crazy, man.
Meanwhile, their business, their industry in the West is crumbling right now. AAA crumbling.
Facts. I mean, it does seem like it definitely get mid 2010s, man, where people just decided to go fucking crazy. And yeah, they seem very eager to piss off a large portion of their fan base. And what was especially damning about it is that they were doing so to try to chase a fan base that didn't exist, or to replace the fan base that was already baked in with one that didn't exist. So this is why with the hyperfixation on social justice.
Yeah, because it's an audience that the people, right, because of the changeover of guard in terms of the personnel. So we used to have very creative people creating creative games. And then we got people who had ideology, and the ideologies took over the creativity. And then that ideology took over the company.
Yeah.
Because nobody could have a dissenting voice. Nobody could have a dissenting opinion. Nobody could have disagreeing or conflicting politics. So because the companies became a hive mind, they wanted an audience that reflected just them. Because they thought, all they see is themselves, they've created their own personal bubble, their own personal echo chamber, and then they think, we need the audience that's going to reflect that, but they need to be us. But you go out into the real world, and everyone's just like, this ain't reality, sweetheart. You know, this isn't the fucking real world out there. Right. You know, nobody's fucking campaigning down the streets of bloody Birmingham for pink-haired fucking Portlandian land whales to become the next fucking James Bond. You know, it's not fucking life. And because of these fucking dangerous ideologies, the fringes become even more extreme. And so they close in on themselves. Mm-hmm. And they do it with these fucking extreme fucking weirdos, don't know what fucking gender they are, don't know what fucking sex they are, you know, from day to fucking day. However, they'll go, I don't know, gender fluid. By the way, let's cut pieces off people because that's gender affirming care. And you're like, but if it's gender affirming and a gender's fucking fluid in your world, why do you even need to go into gender affirming care? Surely it's just fluid, isn't it? No? Because the rules aren't fucking there. It's nebulous. It's all over the fucking place. And so what you get? You get these insane, in our eyes anyway, you know, what we would see is insane decisions in terms of where they want to take video games. Hey, let's put out Dragon Age the Veilguard, have everything, every given opportunity, and then go, when it fails miserably, do we take any responsibility? Of course we don't. We blame management, we blame time constraints, we blame this,
right, that, everything. Yep.
we'll go get hired and we'll go to another company and we'll repeat the same fucking mistake and tank them.
It's like you called it to a T, like exactly how it works, how the outcome is. It's the same fucking thing. And we've watched. I mean, what layoffs are happening within major studios. You see what's going on with Microsoft. I know a lot of people are bitching and moaning about what's going on there. But yeah, man, it's been fascinating to see, because I'm a free marketer, right? So I'm always like, surely these guys see the return or lack thereof, and they adjust. And we watched a sustained period of time where these companies in gaming, in comics, film, TV, were saying, okay, well, we fucked up the first time with this ideological nonsense. Why don't we do it again?
And again.
And again.
And again.
And again, right? And that was what was so fascinating about this, and especially with the last decade and like the real push for some of the like, let's say the social justice left, and how they had successfully infiltrated, though it didn't start a decade ago. That was the result, right? Like they had been working on that forever, the infiltration of all of the arts and all these institutions. But how they were just like, no, we're gonna continue to fuck stuff up, and you guys are gonna do what you're gonna do. And many customers did. They said, okay, you're not the company that I once loved.
Yeah,
you don't have like your ethics, right? What you believe in, or what type of games that you make, or what type of things that you produce, are now running to the contrary of everything, right? Like it's not what we fell in love with.
If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
That's what the great philosopher of Kelly Sue DeConnick
mine is, you don't have to give a shit about my politics, nor do I want to discuss it with you, but I'd love you to buy my book.
It should be completely irrelevant to
exactly.
all of that. Like granted,
who cares?
I get that I'm a commentator, and I even get in trouble with this shit as when people are like, why don't I? Right? Like inject this shit like into everything that I do, like for like the comics. And I'm like, well, I'm also looking at it from the fans' perspective. As a guy like myself, I didn't get into these comics because of one idea. I like singular, like, I don't know, political philosophy, right? Like that's not what I gave a shit about, right? I wanted to be entertained first and foremost, and I begin to fall in love with a lot of these characters. So the Rippaverse is that, right? Like that's what we're trying to do here. And so yeah, to your point, like yeah, you're gonna have people. We already have people, and that's also got us in trouble, believe it or not. Like, what do you mean the Rippaverse has people that aren't 100% aligned politically?
Why would that matter? Why would that matter? Why would you go down the route of a specific political line, whether it's red, blue, libertarian,
whatever it might be,
Greenpeace, or whatever you fucking want? And why would you do that and literally cut off huge amounts of audience?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Why don't you just tell stories that everybody can gravitate towards?
Yeah, universal truth.
Yeah, any normal person would gravitate towards. And if somebody goes, well, it doesn't reflect my politics, that's because it's not attempting to
that's not the goal.
Yeah,
right. It's not
trying to reflect
goal.
Entertainment. That's what
right.
It's trying to do.
It's not the goal, right? And believe it or not, I mean, for a lot of entertainment companies, that was you'd argue most of them, that was just what it was. It was flat out entertainment. Did the individuals that were maybe creating these things have their own individual politics? Of course. Yeah, they all did, right?
As they have every right to.
Yes, exactly. Right. Being very clear on that. They have every right to. But it's not what they were leading with, right? Which is why you had, so it wasn't even part of the discussion. when we want to have these goofy conversations that we've had over the last 10 years, 10 years prior, right? Let's say 2000s, right? Or whatever. And we're playing, or the 90s or whatever, late 90s. I'm not playing fucking Jet Moto or Cool Borders 3, giving a fuck about the politics of the lead snowboard designer or whoever the fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cared. Like, we didn't give a shit. Like, it was totally irrelevant. I just wanted to fucking do tricks.
Reflect my identity and my politics. It's like, wait, what? No, dude, I just want to fucking board on some snow.
Yes, that's
I want
it.
to do some, tricks and get myself some points. Is that okay? I just want my snow points and my snow experience.
That's it. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do. But that's how most people did. And some of us, some of the friends that we've, got along the way, we, met in it, or rather as part of our experience in whatever subculture that we were involved in, whether it was gaming, whether it was comic books, and it was something that brought people together because it did not go there. Now it's almost like people feel like they are obligated to lead with that material, and then again tell other people, large groups of people, that go fuck themselves because, well, the person that they support is or like the party or that they support, it's all just so fucking stupid, man. And the world will be better off, especially with entertainment, when that's not the focus. But if they want to keep burning themselves, congratulations.
Well, it's no skin off your nose.
Not at all. Especially now that I got my company, like, I'm especially like, do what you're gonna do. And like, do what you're gonna do. It is what it is. We're gonna continue to do what we do, and it's gonna be like you serve as an example of what not to fucking do. Right? That's how it works.
If that's the way that you want to push your company, you go do that.
Yep. Go for it.
See how it works out for you.
Especially in this day and age, man. People are like
15 years of a downturn of an industry. I don't know.
But no, especially in this day and age where people are more aware than they've ever been, and they don't want to get burned by that type of shit anymore. It's like, why would I want to give money to someone that's like fucking hating me and shit, man?
To insert something that we've discussed multiple times as well, the only reason why a lot of companies are getting away with this is because they're sugar daddies. They're sugar daddy main companies. So, DC and Marvel, if they weren't supported by Warner and Disney, they would both be bankrupt today.
Yeah,
they would have both.
It had happened.
Yeah,
with
or
some of the
they'd be producing great books again because they needed to turn things around.
Right.
But because because they're propped up by Disney, because they're propped up by Warner, they can continue to do this insanity, and it just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. But as comic book companies, I'm sure you're looking at and go, no, carry on. Carry on. No, it's all good.
But, whatever. Like it was. Well, we used to be one of those guys. You used to be as well. We had to pull lists, and we're like, "Fuck, man, this is retarded. What are they doing?" And now I'm like,
"Oh no, please don't do that again." Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go to a sock puppet account and wind you up. Oh no.
Like now, I'm like, you know what? Go for it, bro. Like you're not listening to me. You're not listening to a lot of the other paying guys. So do what you're gonna do.
I used to work at a company, right? I won't say which, but I used to work at a company where the MD would go online to forums that discussed their industry, and he would slag his own company off. And he would do it in a really retarded way. But what it did is it galvanized people to support the company. So nowadays, you don't even have to do that creative type of finagling,
No.
Because the companies are just fucking tanking themselves quite happily of their own volition.
Voluntarily doing it. And unapologetically doing it as well.
Unapologetically, yes.
Saying, yeah, we fucked up this company. Now what? Well, now you're
what are you going to do about it?
It's like, I'm not going to buy it.
I didn't have anything to do with it years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I've long checked out. What you talking about, man? Oh, man.
Let's turn our attention to, I'm just going to bring up, where is it? D-Day Cobra. Let's have a look. Let's just bring up this tweet that I saw from Jeremy a couple of an hour or so ago. Literally says anything about Superman. And then boom, comment section puts on the nuclear fallout suit. Which is really kind of apt as to what is going on. The discourse around this film is crazy. Have you seen it? Are you intending to see it?
I'll say, well, to answer your question, no, number one. But was I considering it?
Yes.
Yes. Well, let's say this. This was the movie that I was closest to, being obviously a big DC guy.
Yeah.
But it starts to wear off like quickly, and I'm like, I just don't I can't muster the energy to do it. Right? I get to watch other people do it, and that I get entertainment out of that. That's another industry in itself. So yeah, no. The reason why, again, when I talk about consideration, it's like, well, it's this property that you had been fond of in the past, obviously. Big reboot, supposedly, of like what the hell was that? Oh, it's my wife. But yeah. What is that?
Hopefully still your wife.
Oh, she's on FaceTime. Is that my it's my niece. Oh, well, tell her I said what's up. But yeah, I considered it, reason being big DC guy, and it's a reboot. And you think that, well, okay, can they turn this around? Because in an ideal world, and I know maybe we should learn from, we should be ideologues at all about these fucking companies. But in an ideal world, it will be good for, I can sort of see how, okay, if the two biggest comic book companies of all time that have ever existed were in a decent spot, that could mean the industry itself, right, could get some general enthusiasm, which could benefit even my company, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's like, well, I could want it to be great for that reason alone, A
rising tide lifts all ships.
Yes, exactly. So that said, though, it's like, then I have to start being realistic about everything. And I'm like, well, I'm using my context clues here. I'm gathering all the information that I have access to. We'll see how everybody feels about it. But I'm not of the opinion that this is going to bring back interest in the comic book industry. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come out until tomorrow where I am. So that's the first opportunity you're going to get. In the UK, it's not even coming out till Friday. There's no even Thursday preview.
Interesting.
It's just a straight Friday release. Came out in some places in America yesterday. Gary's seen it. Chris Gore's seen it. Yellow Flash has seen it. D-Day Cobra's seen it. And even amongst those people, there seems to be like a complete split. Yellow Flash loved it. Really enjoyed it. Here, I'll put his little blurb. Oh no, that's Gary's. We'll go to that in a sec. His Yellow Flash's Superman was great. Nothing woke, and the immigrant thing is bullshit. It's a fun comic book movie, and unapologetically so. And as you can see, a lot of support on the tweet. A lot of support on that tweet, right? Gary, Superman was not woke and a total disappointment. And again, lots of support on that tweet.
So it's one of those films.
Yeah. So it's like, oh Christ, we're here.
One of those.
Okay, we're
literal
here.
divisive film.
Yeah,
like
Chris Gore.
not like in its not like in an ideological sense. but divisive
just a divisive and in
right.
how the movie's been presented,
Right.
and how the character's been presented. Chris Gore was like, David Cornsweet was great. The cast is good. The movie, not so much. The gun stuff, not so much. And the reviews are just the critical reviews are everywhere. And even though it seems at first glance to be exceedingly positive, because like Rotten Tomatoes, 85%, you even reading the thumbs up reviews, and a lot of them are just very kind of like meh, or sometimes a little bit scathing, and then it gives it a thumbs up, and you're like, what? But there's a huge, here's another, let's have a look at another massive difference, right? Because in the Superman review, Rotten Tomatoes, 85%, okay? Here, I'll bring it on screen. And the audience currently 96%. Now, there's only 1,000 reviews so far, okay? But, so that's got, it's got to simmer. But it started off exceedingly well with audiences and seemingly exceedingly well with critics. You go to Metacritic, which only has the critics up at the moment, and it's 7 out of 10. So that's like, okay. So even like the two major critical sites are kind of at loggerheads with each other in terms of, because 7 out of 10, that's like, to me,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not great. Not terrible.
Not terrible.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. And then you're kind of going down to 5 out of 10. It's very average.
Right.
If you're doing the scale properly, which I tried to do. Like if something's average, like I found Guardians 3 very average. To me, that was a 5 out of 10. Some people go average. That's 7 out of 10. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that philosophy personally. But here, I'll just give you an example. I've actually pulled up the top critic reviews at Rotten Tomatoes just to kind of show you that it is all over the place. Like, this is a thumbs down. Gunn doesn't just borrow from his own Guardians movie, but in his dumpster diving ways, salvages elements from Superman 3 and Supergirl. Supergirl is a horrendous film, by the way. Is all likely amusing and likely expensive mayhem that will please fans of the director and the genre. Okay. Then you've got this one, which is a thumbs up. But listen to the verbiage here. Possibly the most hyped cinematic reboot in the history of reboots, and also a perfectly adequate piece of light entertainment, which says to me that's just like, it's whatever.
It's a movie.
It's a film, yeah. But that's a thumbs up. So that contributes towards the 85%. Then we're straight on to another. This movie is a disaster. A snarky, jokey, over-designed, overwritten, over-digitalized, over everything misreading of all we think the cultural property called Superman stands for. Then we get a thumbs up. There are visual gags and quips aplenty with an endearing and heavy-handed political front.
Well, that's not good.
Which I mean, even Gary and
they are saying that it's not
they're
woke.
both saying it's not at all. It's got no political undertone.
Yeah.
But as with many of Gunn's pictures, it unravels in the third act. Thumbs up. 7 out of 10. The best that can be said then is that Gunn delivers that he avoids a train wreck. This is a thumbs up, by the way. 6 out of 10.
Avoiding a train wreck. That's the metric. That's the metric right there.
6 out of 10.
That's the metric right there. It avoids a train wreck.
From what I heard, Jeremy John said that it was okay. He didn't say that it was very good. He said it was okay. Irreverence is fun, but sometimes with this character, a little good old-fashioned wouldn't go amiss. All of which adds up to a movie that's just fine, really. 6 out of 10. It contributes towards a thumbs up. I would say so far we haven't read a positive review.
Yeah, all of them have been like, at best, it is passable as a movie,
and yet 1, 2,
and not dog
3,
shit.
Yeah, 4 out of the 6 are contributing towards thumbs up.
Interesting.
I know it's
I mean that's an interesting measure. Like, I mean, okay, I guess maybe that's a point of conversation there. Like, you know, do you consider when reviewing something, especially something to this degree, where you're dealing with a character that is, you know, arguably the most notable or one of the most notable comic book characters of all time? Do you approach that differently than if you approach, okay, let's say it's this movie with this either very unknown or completely new property? So the reason why I'm wording it that way is because, look, I know it's a handful of reviews, but those reviews read as if, well, because this is what I'm picking up from the handful of those reviews, because it wasn't an absolute fucking disaster. That's decent, right? And that's an interesting metric there, right? Because it's not whether or not the movie is solid in itself, in and of itself. It's, well, it has a history. James Gunn had pressure, and because he didn't totally fuck it up, therefore, thumbs up. Again, very, very interesting dynamic there, and how people are analyzing this movie. And again, how do you? It's hard. It's very difficult to approach a character, to be fair to everybody, to approach a character like a Superman and not have some sort of frame of reference to the character, right? And to analyze a movie just like, okay, as a movie and nothing else. That's Superman. I guess that, to be fair to them, that's got to be very, very difficult. But I do think just the energy surrounding it, it does feel like unanimously people want this thing to be okay. Like, and what I mean by that is, and I wanted it to be, I just set this whole shit up saying that, well, it's good for the industry if you know, people can get some intrigue out of it. But yeah, I guess that's just kind of where we're at now. But I don't know. I that's very I'm going to be interested to see your thoughts or hear your thoughts on that.
Here's one here. Okay, top one. Superman marks a strong start to Gunn's DCU, and more importantly, a return to what makes the character matter. We need heroes who lead with kindness, and right now, there's no better hero than Superman. That's a pretty glowing review. And then you got another thumbs up below it that says, if you aren't a dog person, this movie may not be for you. At least not entirely. If you are one, nothing else will matter. Why? Because it's got a crypto? So you're saying if a CGI dog is the best thing about your film, this is a thumbs up? That's odd to me. That's very odd. Between the overwritten plot, the sprawling cast, the neat and tidy resolution to the conflict, and the glaring visuals, this is a Superman reboot that screams generic superhero movie at the top of its lungs. Ouch.
And that's coming from Forbes.
That's Forbes, right? I mean, I prefer Eric Kane to
fucking
anyone else. Yeah. Anyone else at Forbes. And it used to, a few years ago, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was the opposite. I was. So that's Forbes. I mean, Empire magazine, probably the biggest, at least known movie publication, gave it 4 out of 10.
Wow.
4 out of 10. 2 stars out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah. These, that one says nothing, so I'm not going to really read that. He's created, I take it, James Gunn has created a beautiful, quirky picture full of wonderful surprises and fantastically weird spectacles, all with a strong dose of humor. And then another 6 out of 10. The steadiest and most successful through line is that the Man of Steel cannot go it alone. That's not good to me. He's more vulnerable than we have ever seen him and more volatile, making him the most human version of himself. I don't know. Again, I can see why you put 6 out of 10. I mean, I see that as very polarizing. That being a very polarizing statement to people, if that is the way that they believe the character is portrayed. Superman needing, a vibrant and energetic spectacle fitting of one of the greatest superheroes of all time, and above all, a delightful introduction to the new era of the DCU. So that's a thumbs up here. There are visual gags and quips aplenty with an endearing, heavy-handed... Oh, this is the one we just read. That's 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Falls apart in the third act. 7 out of 10. Are you sure? Are you sure?
See, Diego's, I know we already read this one, right? But Diego's, that's the one thing, I'm not saying there is a consensus, but that's one thing that I do think of the way that he words it, the best that can be said then is that Gunn delivers, that he avoids a train wreck. I think that's just how a lot of people are just going into this film.
But look at his final line, though. He avoids a train wreck. The final sentiment is closer to disappointment than surprise.
Well, that's what the guy before him.
10 thumbs up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the guy before him said the same thing.
I could ever give a movie that I found to just avoid being a train wreck and a disappointment. Go see it. Thumbs up. That doesn't. The two don't logically doesn't work. Diego, this should be a thumbs down and whatever. Here we go. Irreverence is fun, but no, it's easy for you to say. But sometimes with this character, a little good old fashioned wouldn't go miss. So we had that one. Again, 6 out of 10. A mix of good and bad, which is sort of its own achievement.
Yeah, like I said, it's the one consensus that, again, from reading at least these people, take it for what you may, because the critics, seems to be that it just avoids being absolutely terrible. And look, do you feel that's good enough?
I don't. I would be very disappointed if I left Superman tomorrow going, well, that was passable. That's probably the worst, I think, reaction that you can have. Ultimately, I'd actually.
So it's like it almost reached apathy stage where you're like, it's passable, man. You mean you don't really care? You'd almost rather hate it. You know what I mean?
I'd rather love it or hate it than come out being like, oh, well, that was 2 hours of my life.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it on FNT. I'll do a review on it. I'll probably do this Sunday on Afternoon Tea. It'll be a hot topic of conversation. But that's just because of work.
Right.
But I went to see Deadpool Wolverine 6 times at the cinema. Any friend that wanted to go see it, I'd go see it with them. Went multiple times with Chat's mom. It's just fun. We wanted a good laugh, and it was just a great opportunity to have a good laugh. So I ended up going and seeing that at the cinema 6 times, and happily so. Viewed it on the plane when I was flying over. Watched it on the fucking plane as well.
Let's go.
Yeah. And that was because that was a film that I could watch again and again because it was funny. I liked it. I thought it was very funny. So I've seen it 7. I think I've actually seen it 8 times now. Not that I'm saying that you have to see films multiple times, but it's nice when you see a film and you're like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that again. Maybe you can pay a little bit more attention to other details that you may have missed first time around.
Yeah.
Or you just enjoy it so much. It's like one of those films if you're in a specific mood, you're like, oh yeah, I can pop this film on and it's gonna fucking really lift me up for whatever reason that may be. But, coming out of anything, like, am I ever going to watch the Thunderbolts again? Oh, fuck off. Am I ever going to watch Ironheart again? Oh, fuck off. Am I going to see fucking The Last Jedi again? No. Am I ever going to watch Rise of Skywalker? Not unless I get paid a shitload of money. Am I ever going to watch The Force Awakens again? No. Am I going to watch The Eternals again? No. Doctor Strange again? No. I'm never going to watch this crap again because there's nothing there for me to want to go back.
Right.
If I'm coming out of a Batman movie or a Superman movie, I want to be like, yeah, you know, it's going to be great. Whack this on at home, 4K, or go to the cinema again with some other mates and see their reaction. I don't want to be coming out of a Superman movie going, well, that's the last time I'm going to see that fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Or that's the last time I'm going to. It was fine, but I'm never going to. I'm in no rush to ever see it again.
Fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. Thanks.
And I've seen Man of Steel multiple times.
Yeah.
I'd say that I've seen Man of Steel 5 to 10 times. 5 to 10 times.
Well, look, I guess you'd prefer that. Look, I mean, comic book movies.
I own it on 4K and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Comic book movies have had their polarizing. Like it happens. So you know, you are, but it's part of the conversation. I mean, that can be said for a comic book, for that matter. But it's very interesting to see how people, in our circle, you know, you are getting some divisive stuff, but there are some commonalities. There are some. It's not ass. Now, my argument is this, and maybe some of y'all in the chat maybe disagree. Maybe Az even disagrees with me, but I don't think he does, because I think we both said this. We came to this conclusion that at least to start off this universe, that's not good enough.
No.
Like, it's just not good enough.
Because Supergirl's next as well.
Right.
So if your Superman can't take off, what's your Supergirl going to do? I think this is going to do a truckload of money this weekend.
It's Superman. It should.
But how much is the word of mouth going to affect people in terms of, after people have seen it this weekend, are they going to be inclined? Because like I said, these reviews, they sound good because they're all they got yay, thumbs up, but a lot of them really aren't giving them glowing reviews at all. Yeah, it doesn't.
We haven't read one that's like, this shit is excellent.
Yeah, this is fuck me. This is the dopest shit I ever saw at the cinema.
Right.
Fuck yeah, Superman is kicking ass, taking names. Well, I've heard that from somebody that was flown over to the premiere and schmoozed and fucking wined and dined and 60 fucking nined. I've heard that a lot. But in terms of the other reviews that have come out, I don't want a 6 out of 10 film. I don't want to come out here. Because if this doesn't, let's say let's play this scenario. And I'm not saying that this is the case, because
Flash in the chat, he said 6.5 out of 10.
Kids are liking this, right? And kids are liking the dinosaur movie. So when a kid's like something, that takes adults to the cinema because they're taking the kids. That means bank, right? So if kids gravitate towards this film, it could do good numbers, right?
Right.
But so let's just play let's play devil's advocate. Let's say people go see it this weekend and the consensus from word of mouth is it's okay. Then it's probably not going to have a great cinematic run, maybe 600-700 million. Okay. So if it hits 600-700 million, the likelihood is it didn't make its money back. That's the likelihood, because it's probably 300+ million on this film.
Ooh.
So it's looking at, you're going to be looking at 800 million most likely to break even on this. And the mark, I mean, God, you know, I think this is one of those movies where you can say this is a ×3 and not a ×2.5, really, because the marketing around this movie has been insane.
Oh yeah. I've seen it everywhere.
So it's probably budget, 2 times budget plus budget.
Fantastic
again.
Point.
Yeah. So, so you're looking at probably 8 to 900 million to break even on this one. So 700 million ain't going to cut it. If you're starting off with either a break even or a loss with Superman, and then your next movie is to go to Supergirl, that is looking to be over $200 million in itself, you could be coming out of the gate with 2 duds.
Ooh.
Then what happens? Hi, can I speak to Bruce fucking Wayne now?
Get Batman in here right now.
But I don't think they'll just bring Batman back. Do you know what I'll do? I think they'll bring Batman back, and I think they'll incorporate him in the DCU. That's what I think they'll do.
Talking about Pattinson's?
Yeah, that's what I think they'll do. They'll try and tie it into the DCU to give it a little bit, hopefully, of momentum.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before. I mean, at this point, it's like, what's the point? If they do continue with Batman 2 or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it, like, and it's not part of the universe. Like, what's the point? If you're gonna have it running simultaneously or next to a parallel, let's say, to the whatever this new universe, the gun verse or whatever the fuck.
Fucking start shotgun verse. But it's too confusing for audiences.
Yeah, they're
because
not gonna
most of the audiences that would go to see a Batman film will think that it is part of James Gunn's
verse. and probably feel some kind of way if it's not.
And they'd be confused when it go, why? Well, then James Gunn, let's say James Gunn hits the panic button and goes to Batman, his Batman. And then people are just like, wait, what? Who's this? But Batman's already in. And then oh, no. You see, that's an Elseworlds Batman that is outside of it. You want to talk to a fucking normie like that? They'd be like, what? No. Whoa. I don't care. Don't talk to me. I'm not a fucking elf. I'm a normal person. I don't know any of this shit. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Hey, we'll see. I expect it to do a big weekend, but it's kind of like what's going to happen in the weekend after, and what's going to happen when Fantastic Four come out. Because let's say Fantastic Four is actually good. I mean, the signs are pointing not so much. But let's just say that the Fantastic Four movie's good. And if there's apathy or is there like an okay element surrounding Superman, that'll probably kill Superman in week 3. So how far does it progress in the box office then?
I don't know. But I mean, like this guy Pablo here, what's the best thing about Superman? That it doesn't promise anything. It can't deliver. Okay, it's passable.
But that's not that kind of like the low expectations. Don't have any expectations and you'll be okay. You know? I mean, that's what he's essentially saying, is it not?
I guess, yeah.
If you come in with expectations, you might be disappointed. Don't expect anything. Just let the movie wash over you. And you'll be, I don't know, fuck. It's nicely packed and quite funny when it isn't giving into Gunn's trademark air of merry depravity. Wow. Thumbs up, 7 out of 10.
3 out of 4, though. Yeah, that's weird.
7.5 out of 10. Thumbs up. Wait, what?
That's a weird way to give that score.
Yeah, this is such a weird situation.
So
this is a weird one.
800 million. It should. When I say it should make that doesn't mean that it is.
It depends. It really depends on the opening weekend, because I think if you're gonna be looking to hit 800 million, then you've got to be looking at getting over 300 million on your first weekend. Now, I haven't seen a single prediction that has it over 300 million worldwide on the opening weekend. Not one. So,
well, I mean, I'm gonna be interested to see your thoughts on this.
Oh, dude, I have no idea what to think anymore.
Right.
My feeling was I'm going to come out of the film going, yeah, it's all right. That was my feeling. I'm going to come out and be like, it's all right. But then hearing like Yellow Flash giving it a glower, Gary giving it a big thumbs down, QBG hating it, Chris Gore being like, good cast, not so good writing. It's just like I just gotta be honest. I just gotta be honest. If I like it, if I love it, I love it. If I like it, I like it. If I think it's all right, it's all right. But what I am actually gonna be thinking, I have no idea. I'm so fucking confused. It seems, it just seems, because normally you can get a kind of a base idea, but now I'm just like, I have no clue.
Flash says it's basically the Guardians of Metropolis.
Yeah, I believe you, and that's what I don't want.
Well, I was just about to say, for me, if I was still in review mode and that was the takeaway that I got from it, I'm fucking pissed coming out of that fucking movie. I'm pissed.
Well, to me, because that would say to me that he's just a one-trick pony. He can't do Superman. He can only do ensemble, quirky, oh my godsies type of films. And I thought Guardians 1 was good. I didn't think it was fantastic. I thought it was good. I thought 2 was fine. It was okay. Had some good moments, had some terrible moments. I thought 3 was average as fuck. And as regards to the Suicide Squad, I liked the Suicide Squad. I did like that. But again, they all have one thing in common. They're all quirky, off-track, offbeat ensemble movies. All of them. I want a Superman film. I don't want a Superman, Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, The Engineer, Lex Luthor, Maxwell Lord, Ultraman. What the fuck is Ultraman doing there? It seems like he's really falling heavy on the ancillary cast to do a lot of heavy lifting. But we'll see.
For me, that doesn't fit the tone of a Superman, if that is the case. But I guess it depends on what you mean. Because, my opinion definitely at the time with Guardians wasn't very popular. The first one. Because I wasn't a fan.
Right. Well,
but I'm also a fucking nerd.
Did you read the comics though? Did you read the Guardians?
Yeah, I had a frame of reference. Right.
It's completely the characters are completely and utterly different than the comics.
Yeah. So, but
I think Mr. Terrific is the way that the trailers have been. Mr. Terrific looks like the character I'm most likely gonna like the most, and maybe the only hot toy if it comes out that I would buy, so he can add to my DC roster. But yeah, in terms of the others, I don't know.
I'm going to be looking forward to your review.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see it tomorrow. I'm going to come back. I'm going to start working on the review. The review is going to be out before Friday Night Tights.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it's going to be out before Friday Night Tights. My Superman review. And it might be a jumbled mess of thoughts, but I am probably the most confused I've ever been. I'll tell you one thing, though. I've got no fucking interest in seeing a Tom King Supergirl film. Fuck right off. Fuck that cancellation word. You know what I mean? It's just like, I couldn't give less of a shit if I tried.
That's an interesting choice, man, because...
Tonally, though, you go from James Gunn, Quibby, Wibby, Silly Billy
to this fucking mundane.
I want to kill myself. Yeah,
everybody's depressed.
Yeah, all the men are depressed and they're wanting to suckle their mum's titty bags. All the women are just mummies, and not as in child mummies, just Tom King having women fucking big mummy issue mummies.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. We'll see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Like I say, for me, I'm not like I'm just not one of those that I'm falling over myself to go watch or anything. But like I said, it will be good for the industry for there to be a return to decent comic book media. That's one, I guess, bit of context, a way that you can look at it. On the other side, if you're just looking at it strictly from DC's perspective,
Well,
and again, maybe
look,
people disagree, but
I've been collecting
I
DC comics for 33 years. Not a lot in recent terms, but certainly, you know,
that's
certainly
back issues.
Yeah, certainly back issues.
Yeah,
and I hadn't even heard of the engineer. Never even heard of the fucking engineer until this film.
I mean, I don't know, bro. Like it's if I'm analyzing this from DC's perspective, popping off a brand new universe, and again, people disagree with me. I'm okay with that. I think the reception has to be better than it's okay. I think they had a lot riding on this. They're promising a lot, or at least just, you know, they have a roadmap of movies to come and what have you. Supergirl is on the way. Creature Commandos.
The engineer was from Wildstorm. That's why.
No.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's good enough. Like I said, if people disagree with me, I'm okay with that though. If people are like, yeah, like, well, it's okay and that's good enough, fine. For me though, I just okay. Snyderverse ends. You're starting off this new thing. Sacked Henry Cavill. Starting off fresh. Got a decent casting. Now you're going full steam ahead. Don't really know what the fuck you're gonna do with your other very prominent character in Batman, but whatever. Do you really believe, and maybe this is a question for the chat, do you really believe that having a passable first film is enough? And when I say passable, I'm just talking about how people are, their general reception, which is that, not that it sucks. They're not saying that. There was one top critic that we saw that was like, this is ass. But for the most part, there was one that he was like, this is dog shit. But for the most part, at least from what we've seen in the initial reviews, again, we have to look at it through that context. The opinions could change after this first fucking weekend. But from the initial reviews, what the general consensus seems to be is that it doesn't suck.
Yes, it seems to be, it's okay.
Right.
But if kids like it, that's all it's gonna. That's all it's gonna really need.
Fair enough. If the dog is good, but I also think about the Baby Yoda thing.
Yeah.
I go back to that. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, how sustainable is that? Because people forgot about that green son of a bitch. Yeah. Like, it was like 3 months. He was the hottest thing popping, and then he wasn't. Then nobody cared.
Yeah, because it has it's a trick. It's a manipulation tactic, and it can't sustain mid. You can't just have Crypto bouncing around being fucking cute. The substance has got to come from the main characters. But maybe I'll come out tomorrow and go, do you know what? I fucking love Crypto.
Crypto's the greatest, and this movie's excellent.
I want to get all the Crypto toys. Little fucker's amazing. I am a dog dad now, you see, so I'm not just a cat dad, I'm a dog dad. I have embraced the way of canine.
Embrace the way of the canine.
But it's a very basic psychological manipulation. It's called like the dog, isn't it? Like the dog or like the animal, where they insert an animal to get people's
little mascot.
Yeah, is to get people's attention and something for the audience to sympathize and relate to, because everyone loves dogs and animals, and then they think it's going to rub to the character. It's a very basic psychological trick. James Gunn lives for it.
I mean, that's why I think even kids just being like, "Hey, that dog is cool." I don't think that's enough.
It'll be enough to get people in the cinema, but it'll be enough for first to get people.
Okay, that's fair. So, but I'm speaking more. That point is absolutely fair. I'm speaking more about the state of this fucking universe and what it needs to be able to be a sustainable.
What's Supergirl gonna have? A fucking cat?
It's probably gonna have a cat or some shit.
But remember, the Marvels tried to do it with the
cat.
And
it didn't work. It didn't work.
No,
didn't work with the however you say the fucking name, the alien cat didn't work. Hell, they even had. Remember they came out with that like cat comic that we talked about on Ripper the Silverback.
Yeah, and they just did the streams of the cats. They just had like live ongoing streams.
Yeah,
of cats in a fucking play area, and you're like, what the fuck is this advertising? Also, I think they're really trying to get women to go.
For sure. That and I could see them leaning into that.
I can see them leaning into that. Yeah, the Flurkins.
Yeah, Flurkin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see them leaning into that. I can see them leaning into that. And in that case, okay. That's an okay. You bring that's an interesting thing, right? Like, is that the approach with Supergirl? They just say, "Fuck it, we're going all in on women."
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
That's what I said. Like, because I could see where it could work, but I also could see where it could fucking not. Like, so I could see where it's like, oh shit.
But like, I would have to make a video though. I'd have to make a video saying, "Women, be careful. Tom King is a male feminist, aka potential sex offender, and here's Tom pledging not to rape you if you work with him." And then show the DC Pledge of Allegiance from Tom King, where he says, I agree not to rape my fellow employees. Why would you need to say that, Tom? Why would anyone with a brain cell agree to say anything on this list that's clearly a trap?
Someone said in the chat, Tom King Supergirl is going to have crypto in it too, so they're just going to run his ass ragged.
It's going to have Lobo. It's going to have Jason Samosa in it. So he's going to be Lobo in it. So he's gone from
they're going for
Lobo.
the women. If that, I didn't know that was the movie that he was going to be appearing in.
Yeah.
Which again, that will make it interesting because I could again, if I'm being completely fair, I could see that working.
I can see Lobo working more than Supergirl, dude. You make him a
Tom King Supergirl,
biker type of, If I mean, in terms of what I mean is in terms of attracting a female audience.
Yeah. I can see that.
What percentage of normies do you think have ever heard of fucking Lobo, mate?
Well, zero. But
exactly,
if we're being completely fair. But no, I could see that.
None.
I could see that going another way. It's a big demographic, right? Like it's
more than men. They're not in the minority.
They will buy if they are into some shit. They will buy some shit, right? Like that's if you can get that demographic, congratulations.
Yeah, but it's a big difference between a female demographic and getting them to see a superhero film.
Movie. Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And particularly the way that girl bosses have been absolutely annihilated in film and TV.
You're not wrong.
You want to talk? Hey, do you want to fancy going to see this girl boss Superman? You'd be like, how many people turned up for the Flash movie with Supergirl in it? I had fucking Michael Keaton as Batman, for fuck's sake. No one. Oh, and the person who wrote that film is also on James Gunn's writing staff, Christina Hodgson, who also wrote Birds of fucking Prey, which also failed like a fucking bomb. And that was before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I can see if you can tap into the demographic, because I think one, though they did also need the man. The first Wonder Woman film was a good example of that, right? Where it did kind of tap into that audience.
Yeah, because Chris Pine was the best thing about it. That's the irony of the Wonder Woman movie, is Chris Pine carried that fucking film. He was the best character by a long shot in that film. And I think the No Man's Land scene was very good. It's very well done. But in terms of who did the heavy lifting in that movie, Chris Pine. Because it also is. I enjoyed it up until Act 3.
I gave it a good review.
Up until Act 3 when it fell apart. Because it just turned into CGI slop. But it was a good movie up until then. But Chris Pine, he had all the charisma in the world. He was great. Him looking after Diana. He was a strong lead. But it wasn't Gal Gadot that dominated that movie.
That'll be interesting. I'm actually now intrigued by how they're gonna how they're gonna promote that film. How that's gonna be marketed.
Right now, I'm thinking how on earth to. Right, I mean, it'll all depend. If Superman does well, Superman hits 8, 9. Well, I mean, even 800 is probably breaking even. But let's say Superman does 900 plus million, or just for argument's sake, let's say Superman hits 1 billion, right? Then they've got a lot more leverage to play with.
Mm-hmm.
From the people that brought you Superman, you can do all that kind of stuff. James Gunn's universe takes off again. Look Up again. Saw again. But I think it is an insane decision to have Superman followed by Supergirl. Because if your Superman fails, your Supergirl's got no hope. But if you're going from Superman to Batman, even if your Superman fails, you've got a chance to turn it around with Batman.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to use Batman as their get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Or
the reverse Uno.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is it's one you keep in a chamber. It's the shower gun.
Yeah.
It's the it's like it's there. You don't want to have to use it, right? But when all else fails and you need it, you go grab it, right? So that I think is why they're kind of purposely seeming to lean into, well, what the fuck are they gonna do with Batman? You have this thing with Matt Reeves and all that shit happening when nobody knows what the fuck to stay. Have they shot anything with that movie?
Oh God, no! He's just handed in the first draft of the second film. Literally a couple of weeks ago. First draft of the Batman 2.
So we don't know what the fuck that movie's gonna do.
Robert Pattinson's 39. He's 40 soon. This is our new, young, fresh-faced Batman.
Basically, Affleck's.
Yeah, he's old. He's old.
Age when Affleck first played him.
It's nearly the same fucking.
That's about what's gonna happen with Blade.
He's older than Clooney. He's older than Keaton. He's older than Kilmer.
It's basically what's gonna happen with Blade. Because Ali's like 50, man.
He looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Marshall Ali he looks great. He would easily slip into playing Blade, but how the fuck we don't have a Blade film right now? Oh, and by the way, did you hear that I don't know if am I saying something I shouldn't hear? But you know, Sinners?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you know the outfits they're wearing? Yeah, they're from Blade. I did see that.
I did see that. I saw that.
And it's most likely the repurposed Blade script, because they were going to do the Blade 3. One of the scripts was in that time period with all of that, and they made the costumes. I think Sinners is a repurposed fucking Blade.
Blade film.
Yes. And it's
the
come out and it's done
lost of
fucking
Blade script.
gangbusters. It's a fucking independent film. Imagine what it'd be like if it had the fucking marketing and support behind it.
Yeah.
So, hey, wait a minute. This looks great. It's fucking vampires, but they're setting it like 100 years in the past or whatever. This could be really fucking cool. Marshall Ali, but this time he's a vampire. You know, it'd be fucking cutting him with his... It could have actually been something good. Meanwhile, Sinners. Yeah, we'll take all that. Thanks very much.
Thanks for costumes.
Thank you very much indeed. What do you mean? I've got a fucking recorder. I love Ironheart fucking segment. Okay. I'm going to do it in the most fucking blandest voice you've ever heard that I don't give a shit.
But yeah, seriously, I do think that that's what they're doing with Batman. They're trying to keep it in the chamber. And they're purposely leaving it up in like kind of this limbo state. So though that's an interesting choice. I don't know the beat of Superman because I obviously haven't watched it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to follow that one up, particularly with Supergirl. And it's like that also could have been a cool little wild card instead of introducing her immediately. Kara. Instead of introducing her immediately, it would have been cool, like had she come, several movies down the line, right, and introducing that element. But they are starting right out the gate with her. So interesting choice. Tom King must have convinced the hell out of the team there, and they're like, "Look, I did the Supergirl book. We'll do." And that's what, for you guys that don't know, they are adapting Tom King's most recent. One. This is a relatively modern Supergirl.
So she's a twat.
So yeah, I mean, interesting move. Are they connecting the Batman? Says that someone chatting. As of right now, no. But that could change. I can imagine
in a heartbeat it could change.
Yeah, that could change. They get up and they've already done this multiverse bullshit. They get up and say,
"I'd rather have a Peter David fucking Supergirl all day, every day."
Well, I think most people would. But look, Tom King has convinced a lot of people that he is the absolute shit. So.
Oh, well, if you take certain words out of that sentence, you probably have it right.
I come across the truth. Is what you're trying to say there? Yeah. But CIA Tom, man, I don't know, man, but we'll see. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, Superman, particularly doing well as a Superman, is good for comics.
Is this going to sell any Superman comics? I don't think so. Since when has a movie ever? When has a comic book movie ever tied it to a fucking comic?
That's the problem. They don't do that shit. That's the problem. That's the problem.
If you were to do, I know for a fact, I don't even have to ask you this question. If you were to do an Isom film, let's just say you got the budget, the budget, and you're going to make an Isom film. I know for a fucking fact you'd be trying to tie it into how can I get these moviegoers to go now buy the comic?
I'd be stupid not to. Well, I at least believe that, yes.
But we never get anything. We never get any sort of comic marketing within the fucking theaters. We get all the toys, and we'll get, it's the movie cover, variant cover, We'll get all of that stuff, but we'll never actually get the link between trying to get the cinema audience to go buy a fucking comic. Where's the racks? Where's the free comic that you get by going in?
Where's the main thing that you need? And I'm not saying a new tie-in. I'm saying what you need is a point of reference. Like you need, okay, make it clear. This is the recipe. Okay, you make it clear and obvious that you are drawing inspiration from.
Not a single person, Ace. Not a single person knew what the fuck they were talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's also
because it means nothing when an audience when somebody's going to watch a film. Here's MCU 6. Here's the 616 universe. They don't know it refers to the comic universe. They have no clue.
Well, they also don't help themselves out.
Right, a comic book reader would know that reference. What we're trying to do is get the reverse. The theater person to go to the comics, not vice versa.
Well, you have to put something on the line, number one, and in doing that, or how you do that, is the material's been already written for you, man.
Decades,
it's right there. It's a mountain of it. You couldn't possibly go through all of it. It's a mountain of it. That's the key. That's why the shit didn't work with Marvel. Like it didn't. Like even with when the MCU was at the absolute its apex, it wasn't translating into sales.
No.
And
those characters weren't even in the comics.
Well, that's the problem, right? They weren't even accurately adopt or even trying to accurately adopt who the characters were. Could you imagine, for you guys that are Guardians fans, before they made this recent change to Drax, could you imagine knowing OG Drax and then going to watch Guardians? And let's say I wouldn't go. No, imagine you had watched that movie first, and then you went to go pick up a book, a Guardians book, or you want to learn more about Drax, which you can learn about him in fucking Captain Marvel books. You would be like, why is this character named Drax, but he doesn't look like how Bautista looks? He doesn't act like how Bautista looks. That's their problem. It's arrogance. Directors, writers, all of them feel like they have to put their spin on it. It is beneath them to say, hey, why don't I try to make this book that already exists translate into a film? Because I get it, right? It's not going to be a direct translation because it's a different medium. But how can I get it and I make it abundantly clear? If I'm a studio, that's what I'm doing, right? That's my approach. My approach is, okay, well, it's not going to be to a T same, because again, it's a different medium. There's different types of stuff. There's things that I can and can't do because, well, I'm trying to adapt the comic into a movie, right? And it's going to look different. It's going to, so I have to be careful with that. You could still say, hey, this is what we're attempting to do. And it references X, Y, and Z. Anybody that says that either doesn't work or that they shouldn't do that, you have a working example of why I feel like you have come across the wrong opinion. Look no further than Japan with anime.
Mm-hmm.
The anime sells the manga. The manga sells the anime.
Correct. Why
do you think that is? It's because they have a direct relationship. They're basically the same. Fans start to get pissed when they change it. You have your filler episode and stuff like that people expect. But when you make those massive or monumental changes, the audience gets actually angry. That's why they're able to sell a manga and gangbusters. It's because if I go watch this anime, doesn't matter what that anime might be, or manhwa, or whatever, it could be a Korean, it doesn't matter what I'm watching. I know that I could go get a book, whatever volume that is, and it's largely going to be directly attached to that. In fact, you will go watch it, and oftentimes your instinct is to say, well, I either want to get ahead or I want to do whatever. I'm going to go read the manga.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist in American comics because they don't try to adapt it. And in fact, they try to run away from it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, we'll loosely adapt this, right? Yeah, we'll loosely adapt the Infinity Gauntlet. Right. We'll take, the Infinity Gauntlet's there, but it's not really the Infinity Gauntlet arc at all, actually. Right? There's no death. There's no Lady Death or what have you. None of that exists, which is the fucking reason why Thanos is doing everything that he does. Warlock, for that matter, right? Hell, matter of fact, we bring Warlock in after all of this shit is done. Makes all the sense.
And make him a retard.
Yeah. The guy that's integral to this whole fucking storyline you're adapting. Yeah, we'll bring him back after Thanos is already dead. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, this is stupid.
It's like, I mean, I'll use Zack Snyder's reference, Batman v Superman. He wants to do The Dark Knight Returns and The Death of Superman in one film. Christopher Nolan, in Dark Knight Rises, he wants to do No Man's Land and Nightfall. It's like, what? No, like, these are two massively
you're talking
different stories.
Different times. Yeah, it's just, yeah. But that's the arrogance of the American or Western creator, especially there, where they feel like it's beneath them. It's beneath them to do that. Like, it's like, why would I adapt something accurately? Right? Why would I do that? Why, when I could just make my own fucking spin on every fucking thing? So yeah, that's exactly why it doesn't translate. No matter how they can produce $1 billion film, and it won't equal a big rise in income. If it's a rise, it's slight. It's not anything that's moving the needle.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why. It's because you're getting different. I've been making this argument, guys, for fucking 10, 15 years right on my channel. So talking about this because it's not just like, oh, I'm just some nerd or geek that fucking, knows everything about these comics and I just want things precise. I'm saying no, like, you're not helping yourself and you're not helping the industry by just only taking tidbits. Like, I'm going to take the character and it's only going to be that character and name only. Well, okay, just look at this from a fan perspective. I go watch this movie. I want to learn more about who this character is. Okay, where's the comic book reference? Oh, well, this character appears there. I'll go read the comic, and the comic book is a completely different fucking character. They don't act the same at all. What motivates them is fundamentally different. Everything is different. They only, at minimum, at best, the likeness is there. At best. And I'm saying that's a reach, right? That's at best. That's if they do that. Because otherwise you end up like Drax, where it's a completely different character. You're talking, this is the character that was solely created to destroy. That's his name, Drax the Destroyer.
Drax the
right?
Destroyer, yeah.
Solely created by Thanos' ancestors, it was grandfather, whatever, right? To destroy Thanos. Goes and hunts this motherfucker everywhere that he goes. He's cutthroat as it gets. That's the complete opposite of what you got in the Guardians movie. It's not even close. But if I go read Guardians, if I go read Captain Marvel, if I go read any of these books, and I see the appearances of him where he's following his ass around, trying to hunt and kill fucking Thanos.
Why is he not making any silly jokes?
Yeah, that's what they should be like. Well, this is a guy. He's completely different.
Why is it not funny? Why is it violent?
That's why. And that's why. So to your point, right? Well, yeah, you kind of humble me there because, like, yeah, if it does do good, is it really going to sell more comics? And it's like, well, that's going to be solely determined by them.
Because what's the biggest seller at DC right now?
It's the absolute universe.
Yeah, it's just got nothing to do with this.
Yeah, it's completely detached from all this shit.
So if people like this, like the Superman movie, and then they want to get the comics, they're going to get a very different Superman.
Yeah.
So so you could actually put them off one or the other. You could actually convert them into Superman comic fans, in which case they'll probably just be buying back issues. And they'll be like, this isn't working for me. Or they were just like, oh, these comics are shit. They're nothing like the film I've just seen.
Yeah. That doesn't move the needle. That doesn't move the needle. So yeah, to your point, like, they do themselves in with that stuff. And that it's an interesting phenomenon, especially when you have such working examples like I mentioned with anime and manga in a relationship that's so tight knit with those guys. And it's like, yeah, someone brought up a Pip the Troll. Yeah, it's like, yeah, none of those guys were there. Pip the Troll, none, like, if they were smart, they would have went from if they wanted to like start telling these like side stories, they would have went from the Infinity Gauntlet era to the Infinity Watch, right? You had basically all the characters there for the most part. You could have, right? You had the Gamoras and all that were all part of that storyline within the comic, but you didn't introduce Adam Warlock. Yeah, Pip the Troll. I don't know. He never showed up. At all. But you had those guys that were tied to the Guardians, at least, that would have made sense, because they were really part of the Infinity Watch, which was the arc where basically, for you guys that don't know what that is, the Infinity Watch, which they've tried to adapt it like 5 more times after the fact, but the Infinity Watch was where basically, obviously, to separate all of the Infinity gems, or the Soul gems as they used to be called, they each individually got one and went to do their own thing, right? So, Warlock had his, and, Pip had his, and Drax, and all of those guys had their own soul gem, if you will, and they went on their adventures doing their own thing. But yeah, they didn't do any of that shit. Warlock shows up, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're gonna bring the guy that's core to this whole arc that you're trying to adapt. You didn't have Captain Marvel. In fact, the biggest bastardization that I've ever seen, probably, and I tell the story all the time, was what I said in my review. When the Marvel of the MCU, which is this female, is some chick, I was throwing my chicken tenders that I was eating in the movie studio, or whatever the hell you want to call it, at the fucking screen, because I was pissed. You never got a properly adapted Captain Marvel, right? Which is interesting because it's like the first big adversary of Thanos, right? It wasn't even Warlock; it was Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Warlock, but they didn't have any of that present in this whole arc that they adapted. They fucked up Marvel. Adam Warlock shows up after the fact, when Thanos is already gone. There is no death. These are all core to the whole Infinity shit with Thanos. Thanos' specific reason for collecting this shit because he's a giant simp. Is essentially the truth, right? That's the truth to death, right? None of that's present. It's just wants to fuck up half the universe because of resources. Like, what? What? And people believe that. People were hyped up on that shit. People were hyped up on that. Like, that's what they did. That's what the fuck they did. And that's why you don't sell books. You can make $1 billion film and it'll never translate, because I'm going to go watch that film. I, even as the nerd here, put this shit together, doing all these videos, reviews, doing all this shit. And I'm like, again, have to have a whiteboard that's full of this whole fucking wall to try to say, all right, well, they drew from this book, they drew from that book, that book, to try to connect all the dots for you, because they don't care.
And remember, when it comes to this Gunn verse, James Gunn said that Brave and the Bold would be Batman and Damian Wayne Robin. So he wants to go.
He's going way down
to the fifth Robin.
Go ahead, man. Like I say, these are things I used to get frustrated about, and now I'm like, you're gonna do what you want.
If you don't care, why should I?
Yeah, exactly. That's been my attitude. It's like, you don't care, so I shouldn't. I should not.
Yeah, I think Damien's my least favorite Robin as well. But it's James Gunn's favorite Robin. That's why he wants him in, and that was a lot of James Gunn's rationale as regards to why he picked certain things. He liked The Authority, so he picked The Authority to be the second movie. We all said it was an absolute insanity. What ultimately happens? The Authority movie gets removed. He puts Booster Gold in there. Why would you have a Booster Gold TV show? Who the fuck is gonna... That vanishes. He brings his own Peacemaker in with his wife and the same Amanda Waller into the universe that's already just finished because it's James Gunn stuff. James Gunn is in love with James Gunn. not these characters, not this universe. He's just in love with what he's in love with. And we're going to get it whether we like it or not by the looks of it. Let's go through some fucking
that's perfectly summarized. To go right into the super chats. You couldn't have said that any better.
Josh Kelsey slaps a 20 on the counter.
Let's go.
Waltzes out like a baller.
Don't say shit.
Yeah, Josh, the Josh way. GJJ's been a member for 40 months. GJJ, thank you very much indeed. B Buster with a 31 months says, Eric, when you and Dan go on tour, will you have Az there to crowd surf?
Yeah. By the time that happens, Az is going to be as athletic as I am. So
I better get fucking working then quick. I've been athletically going in the wrong direction recently. Joe Music 931 with a $2 says 700K. Ripper watches Superman. 1 mil. Fantastic Four.
Oh man, what a milestone! I hit those milestones like that. Like boom. If I put them there, like all right, we're gonna get Eric back to doing the history and the review videos again. Just to make him say it's 700K.
I'm queuing up. I'm queuing out outside the door. Knockity fucking knock. Open the fuck up.
Oh man.
Creative Welshman with the £2 says, Eric, when's Horseman 1 shipping?
We sent the emails out about that. We have the Great War Separation, which is going out right now. So we anticipate sometime this month. We've talked about moving to the new printer. Well, the whole fucking thing has been revamped since the Zaylan issue. So obviously we had to get onboarded and work our way through some processes, if you will. But we're getting back on it. So or not that we're getting back on, it's like once we're on it, it'll be smooth sailing. But yeah, we anticipate that, we got Horseman, we still have Yaira as well that we need to fulfill. So hopefully sometime this month we'll see what happens. It should be sometime this month, doesn't matter when. It's probably late this month.
Nibri Munrai with a 12-month says, if I want to bag and board books from the Ripperverse, what size do I need? Good question.
That's a fantastic question. So Silver Age, because our books are bigger, are the size of bags that you're gonna want to get. You can use a current backing board, but it's because of how big those books are tend to be with the spine and everything, and that a standard comic book book bag and board is not going to work. So get a Silver Age for like ISOM, all of those. Like ISOM 3 is massive. So that one you may end up needing to get the Silver Age thick ones, but the Silver Age ones you should be good with those.
What I would recommend as well, dude, is if you go with the backing boards, make sure that the backing boards are the same brand as the bags. Because believe it or not, the sizes can slightly change depending on the company. So if you're going to get the Silver Age bags, get the backing boards for the Silver Age that matches the brand.
If you get it'll work if you get if you go to BCW, which we've partnered with, you can get the current era backing, current/modern backing boards with a Silver Age comic. That'll perfectly.
Well, they're small. Yeah, they're slightly smaller. Right?
Silver Age bag, excuse me, and that will fit your Ripperverse book.
Oh yeah. Radigor has been a member for 32 months. Radigor, thank you very much indeed, dude. Calioth with a $5 says, with Dan Vask, do we have the fearsome 5 of Rip, the Silverback, the Soskas, and Dan V to make the Ripperverse into animated form for streaming / Blu-ray sales?
I mean, obviously through all of us, we could do all sorts of shit. But yeah, I mean, look, once the memberships platform like really gets going and you guys start signing up, I've made it abundantly clear that we want to do more animations. We want to do more like cool stuff like that. And that'll be our way to kind of fund those efforts. And we talked about starting with Horseman. So between all of us here, we have the team at Ripperverse Studios. We have the team to do it for sure. It's just a matter of obviously animation ain't cheap. So it's just a matter of making it cost effective. And but once the memberships are live, I think that it'll pay for itself.
Erudite with a $10 says, I notice you use your family symbolism, like the name Isom. I'm a blazonry nerd and was curious if you know your heraldry.
No, I don't.
Many families orientated people don't, because it would make a great emblem.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, my mother's side, which is where all of the names come from. For you guys that don't know, spoiler alert, a lot of the characters that are tied to Isom are named after my family members. Like my great grandfather Isom, that's his name. Altona, those Vasi. Yeah, these are all named after. These are characters that are named after my ancestry, and we've done a phenomenal job keeping up with all of that. Like we can trace that back all the way back. We can trace our family back. But yeah, that'd be something that's very, very intriguing. Yeah, Silman, the Silman name is another one. Yeah, all that's from my family members.
Nice. Callie off with a $5 says, wasn't the goal to build a community by inspiring others to dream by escaping the world and making a bit of money to keep doing it from grateful masses?
That would be that. You think that's the point, certainly for us, but a lot of folks, unfortunately, in the creative fields, are very arrogant, egotistical folk, and it's not about serving you for them and being blessed and thankful there. It's more, well, you're living up to their standards and you're the one that's blessed to support them. It's not the way I approach it, but you got to understand, a lot of people, unfortunately, definitely in the mainstream arts, they see it differently.
Have a nobody, the hate monger with the $2 says, you guys received your Creator Clash refunds yet? Oddly enough, I never bought any of the Creator Clash stuff. Shocker, hey?
Can't say I have either.
Yeah, maybe you see, the reason why have a is I can't support anti-Semitism and terrorism. So I don't want to have any affiliation with iDubbbz, with Anissa, with the Creator Clash brand, with any of that, because I do not in any capacity believe or support in anti-Semitism and racism and terrorism.
All of the things.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want anything to do with that, but I appreciate the super dude. Appreciate you. And Have's been a member for 10 months as well. Thank you, Have. Erudite with a $5 says, I miss non-political story/quality based debates in entertainment. Good old-fashioned fandom scraps. Wasn't going to see Superman, but I might now. I think FNT is going to be a fun show this week, and I think there's going to be some good back and forthing with others based on Superman, by the sounds of it. And by the sounds of it, it's going to be based on what the actual film was about, not in terms of woke or ideology or anything like that, but just in terms of whether or not it's a good film or a shit film or a mediocre film. But I think there's going to be a lot of debate to be had, and the proper debate that we all love, the nerd debate.
Right.
And then they follow up with another $2 says, may have spoken too soon now, hearing the reviews. Well, you're never going to know if you don't, watch it.
True.
I mean, I would always say, if you are interested, just watch it. Regardless of anybody's opinion, just watch it. If you yourself are interested, don't let anyone else sway you otherwise. Go see it, make your own mind up. Because you're never going to know unless you make your own mind up. But if you've heard enough from people that you trust that you don't want to go see it, that's your prerogative. But if you're curious, if you're legitimately curious, don't let any reviews put you off. Go make your own mind up.
Yeah.
So they follow with another $5. Says, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. Ellie Weasel. Yeah, it's apathy, yeah. Doesn't bode well for this movie or Hollywood as a whole for that matter. We'll find out. But yeah, the opposite of love is not hate. It is definitely apathy and indifference, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Flash with a $2 says, crypto merch gonna be big. That saved Godzilla USA. Yeah, I can imagine crypto merch doing very well. Very well. It's interesting. I'm going to go to a doggy store in a few days' time. And I'm just wondering if there's going to be like little cryptos for your doggies to bite on, you know, squeaky cryptos or shit.
Yeah.
Because they have jaw, you know, they got all kinds of fucking merchandise. They got fucking different films, different fucking, you got like One Piece. They had Jaws 50th. They have all kinds of different fucking shit in these shops. I seen fucking Sylvia's dog wearing a Jaws fucking t-shirt. It's like, it's fucking crazy what you can get for dogs nowadays.
Yeah.
Mikey Guster with a $20 says, I see Superman doing around 200 mil opening weekend worldwide. After that, it will fall off. At the end of its run, it'll be gross between 300 to 450 mil.
You think so?
Needs to make over $1 billion to break even. $364 million budget. I don't think we're going to do that. I think it's going to do about 130 mil domestically, 130, 135 domestically, another 100, 120 internationally. So I think it's going to do about 250 mil opening weekend. And I think it's going to, if it does 250 mil opening weekend, I think it's probably going to land somewhere in 650 to 750 as an end result. That's where I think it's going to land. But I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's a good enough start at all, by the way. Even my numbers that I'm fucking predicting, I don't think that's good enough because that would still be a loss. That would still be a loss. Probably of 100, maybe even 200 mil. But I think that's too low. But we'll see. We'll see. But it's definitely polarizing, and all it takes is a consensus of the audience to be like, yeah, that's it. And a film and a word of mouth can spread, and a film can drop off real quick. So we'll see. But I'm predicting 650 to 750 mil box office. Edwin with a 50 Danish says, as you will not like who owns crypto. That scene pissed me off. Remember this super chat when you see that scene because someone calls Superman a bitch.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay. Snacks with a $2 says, don't get sucked into a Hawk Girls crypto scheme. Giggity. Hot tour girls. A. Marcellus with a $10 says, I make no apologies. The score sucked. What happened to full-on orchestral scores? Alan Silvestri, John Powell, Michael Giancho, Howard Shore, etc. would have been better choices. Well, I mean, they do take the John Williams score, which is an interesting decision because that, to me, seems like, again, a little bit of manipulation, audience manipulation. One thing that The Man of Steel has, regardless of how you feel about the film, I think The Man of Steel has an absolute banging soundtrack. Has a great soundtrack, great Superman theme, great new Superman theme. And I think the soundtrack for Man of Steel is superb. Absolutely superb. Dragonwise has been a member for 13 months. Thank you, Dragonwise.
I wonder if when Mr. Terrific shows up, rap music starts playing. That would be on par for the course, right?
Oh, dude, if it does, I'm just going to start laughing in the cinema.
I'm actually dead serious.
Oh.
I'm actually dead serious.
I'll tell you. Don't tell me, chat. I'll find out tomorrow. Let me find out tomorrow at the cinema. That way, it'll be a genuine reaction. Aitken has been a member for 43 months. Says, "G'day, Az Eric. My income is a little unstable at the moment. I'm missing out on your new comics. Please tell me there will be a way to catch up."
We always will have cover Ds. Those are our mass print covers. We keep them around for that reason. So that there's always something in stock over at Rippaverse.com. No matter if it's now or 2 years from now, you can go get an actual new copy of the book. So yes, there's always going to be a way to catch up over at Rippaverse.com.
Nice. Nice. And that is us caught up for today. Chitty
Yep.
chat, chitty chat, chitty chat. Let me just do this. Got to do my shilling because I'm part of it. Saints and Sinners, linked, top link in the comment section, or if you're watching this back later, it's in the description box down below to Saints and Sinners. 10,525 books sold, 406,889 so far. There is still just over nine days to go, closing out a week on Friday, which is going to be very exciting. I sense a week on Friday, I'm going to be doing some heavy streaming to shield the shit out of that going into its close. So if you want to support Saints and Sinners, please do. Rippaverse's first anthology book, my writing debut, Mauler's writing debut, Drunk 3PO, Critical Drinker, Soska Sisters, and that guy sat down there as well. Eric July, 6 different stories, 15 pages each, apart from Mauler gets 16 because long man,
It's long man, yeah.
So a lot of bang for your buck on this one. Please do go check it out. Please do support. It's doing absolutely phenomenally, and we're just around 350 copies away from overtaking Yaira 2. Oh, oopsies. That would be awful if we did, chat. Eric, before we go,
$500,000.
anything that you'd like to plug, right?
Saints and Sinners, go grab it. That's what I want to plug. Obviously, we have other books. Got obviously Glorious Death. Go grab that. Go listen to the track. Myself and Dan Vask. We got Gary's books dropping on Friday. We got some special that we're doing for Riververse Day Friday as well, which is not Gary's book. And yeah, go grab Saints and Sinners. Can't wait for you to read it. Great War Separation 2. Go start getting those reviews out. Those have been shipped, or those are being shipped right this moment. And that's all I got. I'll maybe pop in some streams from time to time, maybe through the weekend or whatever. But other than that, I'm going to be writing. I had it caught up on some stuff. Represent 4, yes, good point. Represent 4 also ends on Friday. It ends on Friday, closing that bad boy down. So yeah, it's going to be a massive day on Friday. So I'm glad Jordan brought that up in the chat.
And here as well, let me just bring it up. The Ripazine 4, not only does it have a brand new story with the Soska Sisters Catch and Kill, but it's got all the interviews with the Saints and Sinners writers. So if you want to get some scoopies, check out the interviews myself.
Look at those sales, man, for a zine. Another 3,000 fucking books, man. You guys are crazy, man. Yep. Can't wait for you to read Catch and Kill, bro. Let's go.
Yep.
Comes with your membership, or you can get it for just $8 or $7, however much it is, or whatever. But you can just get it with your membership, no matter what tier.
Go check it out, folks. Go check that out. It's a tie-in to the Saints and Sinners. So if you want all of the gubbins, for Saints and Sinners, you got to pick up the Ripazine 4. You got to pick that up as well, because and again, it's coming in at $8. You can pick it up for $8. I'm not saying that's no money, but I'm saying very affordable.
Yep.
Very affordable, considering you get a story, all these interviews, all the other stuff as well, all the other articles.
Previews.
Yeah.
All the stuffs. So yeah.
All the stuff. Excellent. Right, chat. Tomorrow I'll be off to see Superman. Which is going to be really interesting indeed. And right after this video drops, in actual fact, boom, my Ironheart 6 review has just gone live on the channel. So the Ironheart 6 episode 6 review just gone live.
Go watch it.
Go fucking watch it. Couple more supers slid in. DB with a £2 says, Clark Kent, Daily Planet. Are comics booming? Who's he interviewing? If it's the Rippaverse, the answer is yes. If it's Marvel, the answer is don't ask us that question. Go pick up a copy of Gail Simone's X-Men. I'm sure it'd be great. I fucked up the comic book industry by blackmailing my way. Okay. Taker 610 with a $5 says someone needs to do a TV sitcom intro for Superman with the Full House theme. Everywhere you look.
Everywhere you look.
I mean, I've got to see the film to see where he would be looking. That's just the thing. Where would you be looking? Thank you, Taker. Thank you, DB. So my Ironheart episode 6 review is now live up on the channel. Tomorrow, I'll be going to see Superman, and I'll be starting my review, but my review will definitely be out before the beginning of FNT, which is probably just going to have one topic of conversation this week, and that is Superman 2025. Superman's James Gunn. Other than that, more videos still coming, and Sunday afternoon tea with Az, and also Sunday fun day as well. John Platt sliding a £2 across the counter saying, Eric, is Chuck Dixon still writing stories for Rippaverse?
Oh, of course. We got Alpha Core, you got Horseman. He's juggling both of those there as well. We got obviously that. We got Great War Separation still going. He's a very busy man here. So yes, he's still doing stories.
Excellent. Other than that, all the good stuff will be on Eric's channel next week for Ripping the Silverback, and we'll be back on my channel on Tuesday for the real BBC. So until then, you'll take care. Goodbye, Blue Boo.